In this video we'll be concerned with people, processes and physical evidence related to issues associated with selling, sales, marketing and generally the promotion of the business in the minds of the customer. So we're going to look at the types of people involved and their roles, and look at the sales department or the marketing department, and look at the types of personnel and their functions within that department. And we're going to do this at a high level of generality, so we're not going to deal with nitty-gritty classifications. We're going to deal with it in terms of functional roles. So people, processes and physical evidence are a recent addition to the marketing mix. So the marketing mix, you remember, price, place, product, performance and so on. The 7p's or whatever it is we're dealing with, the number of p's have grown over the years. But here we're adding people, processes and physical evidence to this because these are the backdrops to what happens in terms of the marketing activity that an organization engages in. The three elements are components of service marketing, and service marketing is very important. We think, when we think of marketing, often in terms of physical sales, sales of items, sales in shops, or physical products. But in fact, we live in a service economy, and a lot of the Western world are service-based. We produce services. And in that sense, we need to look at the people, the processes, and also the, if you like, the physical evidence of what happens within those service sectors to get an understanding of the marketing and the marketing initiatives that are required within those sectors. There is a temptation for us to think in industrial terms, that we're making products and we're selling items in shops and so on. In fact, in many countries, Western countries in particular, those items are imported, and it's the service sector that bring about the sales, and that's what we're talking about in this context. The service sector has become an important market and must be acknowledged by the marketing mix. It's pointless to have the marketing mix which is centered on physical output and the marketing of physical products, when in fact a lot of the economy is service based, and a lot of the marketing will be selling services, selling the services of accountants and of marketing agencies and of singers and entertainers and doctors. These are service sector sales, and it's important that the marketing mix includes components that enables us to effectively analyze and discuss the service sector. Now start with people. According to Blythe in 2009, the people element in service marketing consists of employees. The following are characterized as employees. First of all, contractors. Well, employees that have the most contact with the customer. For example, salespeople, telesales, customer service, sales assistant. There should be experienced. These people should be experienced in dealing with customers on a daily basis. So when we think of people within the service sector, we're thinking of people who have contact, person on person. So the salesperson, the marketing person within the organization deals with a person at the other end. And the type of people we're talking about here who typically would have this contact will be sales personnel, telesales, customer service, sales assistant and so on. We also have what's known as modifiers. People who have contact with employees but not marketing related. For example, the receptionist, the administration staff, the switchboard. These are very important people, but they're not directly in contact with potential customers. These employees need training and development in people skills and performance monitoring in customer contact. So they must present a polite and affable and helpful demeanor, but their function is not to make sales. Their function is to facilitate sales by routing the contacts through the appropriate sales person. So these are modifiers. Then we have influencers. Now, an influencer is involved in the main functions of the marketing mix. However, they have little or no contact with customers. The primary focus is to influence the decisions of the customer. So they're not directly in contact with the customer, but they will have an influence on the customer by devising slogans, by devising marketing campaigns, by organizing events, by entertaining customers and potential customers. They're influencing the decision of the potential customer to make the purchase. They're influencing. And we also have what's known as the isolated IDs. Difficult to pronounce. No customer contact here, but they are vital in the main operations of the business. For example, accountants, management staff, security, the cleaning staff, and so on. These are the people who look after the marketing environment within the organization. They look after the physical marketing presence. They look after the staff who are dealing with the customers. But they're isolated from the customers. They don't have direct contact with the customers, but their functions are very important within the selling framework. People are vital to the smooth running of an organization. Employees are the main point of contact between the customer and the organization. It's person to person. That's how the sale takes place. It's not the person dealing with a machine or dealing with a robot. It's the person dealing with the person who can ask questions, who can, in the brief time that they may be in contact, nonetheless they can build up a relationship, an understanding of what one wants and what the other one wants, and tries to bridge the gaps and understand each other and come to an agreement. So people are at the basis of this type of selling. Employees must be sufficiently trained and motivated and rewarded and managed and monitored. It's important that the employees are equipped to do the job. If they're not, it will fail. And they must be equipped in terms of their training, their understanding of the product. But they also must have personal skills. They must have social skills. They must empathize with the buyer. They must understand what the buyer is saying and try to facilitate the requirements of the buyer if at all possible. But they must be motivated to do this. They must have good rewards. They must be adequately paid. They must be respected. They must be lauded for their efforts. They must be clapped on the back and told that they did a good job. So it's a question of identifying the right people to be in contact with potential customers, and then rewarding them and training them, and make sure that they're adequately managed. They have an environment which is quite certain and secure. They don't have to worry about other things within their immediate environment, and that they're monitored to make sure that they're making progress and they're dealing with issues effectively. Now the process. Well, the process element in service marketing comprises of all of the actions, resources, time and procedures that are in place to deliver an efficient and quality service to the end customer. So that's what the process is. It's all of the actions and resources and times and procedures. It's everything. All the processes, it's everything that goes in to giving the end customer a quality contact, a quality service, so that the customer is happy with the contact they've had with the organization. They are happy to return to the organization, make further purchases. They're happy with their whole experience. And to that end, the resources should be adequate, the time allocated should be adequate, it shouldn't be rushed, the procedures should be efficient and clear. And of course, going back to the previous point, this means that the personnel within the organization should be adequately trained, rewarded, respected, because they are the ones who are interfacing with the customer. Process requires the following. First of all, an organization's assets. Well, the assets of the organization, the personnel within the organization, the facilities of the organization, the backup, which we've mentioned earlier in terms of accountants and management skills and the cleaning staff, and all of this, the assets of the organization must be behind the initiative. But it's also important that there is knowledge, explicit, written down evidence, patents, market research, documents, and so on. And also tacit knowledge, knowledge in the mind of the employees. So there are two types of knowledge that need to be taken into account. Explicit knowledge, which is the knowledge which is codified, it's written down, it's evidenced in books, ledgers, in notes, in minutes of meetings. This is the explicit knowledge. However the organization records it, it is recorded, and it may be consulted. But there's also tacit knowledge. Knowledge which is in the mind of the employees. It's the feeling that the employee gets about the situation. It's the feeling, the understanding the employee has with the customer and the contact with the customer, whether it's a serious customer or somebody just asking questions. This is the part of the understanding that the person has got, the feeling that person has got. So there are, in fact, two types of knowledge, explicit and tacit. And we all use these freely in our everyday lives. We rely on written knowledge. We use libraries, we use books, we use the internet, we use all sorts of sources to get knowledge. We ask people. We also have tacit knowledge. Sometimes we don't trust what we're being told. Sometimes we don't feel like it's correct. And the last part is procedures. So processes require procedures. They need to have a set routine. It needs to be rehearsed. It needs to be choreographed. The contact with the potential customer should be routed through in a certain way, go through to a certain person who will have a certain open line, who will have been briefed about how to answer particular questions. And the more contact the organization has with potential customers, the more questions that will be asked. Those questions should be captured, and this will constitute the explicit knowledge, part of the training program for the future. What if a customer asks the following? Then the answer should be something along the following lines. In other words, when the procedures have been in place, one of the procedures will be to capture any contact information from the potential customer. What questions were asked, what concerns were expressed. It should be captured, should be written down, so it constitutes part of the next training package. Main processes involve the following categories. Before sales, sales staff in place to encourage sales, promotion and informational material, samples, supplies. So it's before the sales. Everything should be ready, should be made ready. They should not go in to the activity, the sales activity, ill prepared. They should go in thoroughly prepared, having researched the product, researched the market, understand what they're going to deal with, the prices, the attributes of the product. They should go in with all of the information that is germane to the sale and to what they're going to deal with. They should have samples if need be. During sales, order completion should be an easy process. It should be made as easy as possible. And contact with the delivery staff and how to get the product to the person, and it should also be very smooth. It should be worked out very precisely, giving the potential customer confidence. And then of course there's after sales. The after sales services, returns, warranties, insurance, and dealing with complaints. The customer wants to feel that they're not going to be abandoned when they've made the purchase. That's it. That's the end of the story. They want to feel that if they've made the purchase and somehow the product is not suitable or it's faulty, they can go back and they will be heard sympathetically by the organization and dealt with sympathetically. Now, physical evidence. Well, this is the tangible element of service marketing. Evidence can be in the form of forms. For example, if a company is offering services, let's say an accountant is offering his or her services in the marketplace, the physical evidence of that service could be anything from life insurance policy documents saying that the person it'll be covered, indemnified if they take on a contract and unfortunately they hit illness or whatever, they will be able to indemnify the person, the contract they've taken on. Excuse me. They should also have, if you like, souvenirs from a holiday. They should be able to show evidence of what they've done. They should be able to, people visiting their office should see extensively what they have done and what they have achieved. It doesn't have to be souvenirs of a holiday. I just put that in as as an example. But it could be anything. It could be prizes issued in competitions. It may be that they want to invite the potential customer to a meal, and they will check the ambience, the lighting, the environment, the furniture, etc., to make sure that it fits with what that person expects or what they would like to give that person as an experience, because the person will then measure them according to their what they have offered in terms of the meal. So the contract may hinge on providing a nice meal in a nice setting for them to discuss the issue and discuss the contract, and it's done in a very relaxed atmosphere. Of course, certificates of a qualification are very important to make sure that the person that the customer is dealing with is qualified in the area, that they are certified to undertake that particular task. So it's good that they're able to ensure continuity in terms of life insurance, and should they unfortunately go ill, someone else will take over, or there will be compensation paid to the customer, or that they're able to show their experiences from different types of experience that they've had, perhaps sometimes in a non-work situation, to a meal in a restaurant, but also to the certificate they have passed. They're a member of some institution, or they hold certain degrees or qualifications or experiences, and they're able to evidence that through qualifications. They're able to also, of course, produce brochures and marketing material. Airline companies do it all the time. They're offering a service, and they issue brochures and marketing material to, again, give the travelers, in this case, the air travelers, confidence that they are a reputable organization. Their marketing material is properly designed and carefully worded and carefully delivered to give a very professional feel. Again, it's a service, but they're using something physical to try and bolster their selling activity. Now, market evidence. Well, physical evidence adds value to the service and can be used to increase loyalty. So if they can add some evidence to what they're saying, if let's say a company is offering a particular service, but they can show that they have achieved certain outcomes in the past, that would increase interest in the company, but it would also perhaps increase loyalty on the part of customers who are already involved with that particular company. They would want to stay with them. It develops a positive brand image. It bolsters the brand image. The very fact that they have got a good reputation and they're able to offer evidence in support of what they're saying. They're not just talking. They're not just saying they can do it. They can prove that they have done it in the past and they can do it again. So that it develops a positive brand image. It could be that the market evidence requires some sort of promotional materials, free gifts. Now the free gifts could be brochures, of course, but it could also be meals, invitation to presentations, invitation to breakfast meetings. It can take a variety of gifts, and it's all designed as a part of the promotional experience. It could be that the company will sponsor seminars or evening meetings, and during the evening meeting there will be food and drink and entertainment supplied, as well as putting forward the message that the company is reputable and it's desirable to deal with that company. And of course, it all increases the prospects for more sales. All of this taken together, it means that the organization is promoting itself in a very positive manner. So here we've emphasized in this particular session the idea of the service sector and marketing the service sector and some of the issues involved in marketing the service sector, the types of contacts that must be made and how the contacts should be handled and managed, and the variety of contacts, as I said earlier, from arranging a meal with a potential client to issuing glossy brochures or business trips or sponsoring a seminar or whatever it is. It means that the potential customer has more confidence in the organization and is more likely to deal with that organization as a consequence. Well, that's all we're going to deal with here. So those are the sources that I mentioned in the course of the talk, and that's what we're going to deal with. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.